So last week, Bear and I reviewed Injustice 2, an incredible fighting game from NetherRealm. Had a blast with that. I'm still having a blast with that, but it's not the only recent fighting game to hit the market. Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challengers, is out for the Nintendo Switch from Capcom, and it's a $50 game here in Canada. It's a $40 game in the States, and price is a big deal with this game because we are essentially playing something that's between 23 and 30 years old, because this is the old Street Fighter 2 formula that has been refreshed. There are new HD visuals with this thing, but even those we have seen before, because this is basically a reissue of Street Fighter 2 HD Remix. It does add Violent Ken and Evil Ryu into the mixture, but those we've seen before in the Street Fighter 2 canon. So even those characters aren't that fresh, that new. We've seen all of these fighting mechanics before. We've seen all of these kinds of animations and the crazy characters, the International Contest of Champions, which is still incredibly fun. And actually, in the context of the Nintendo Switch as this sort of play-together type of platform that actually allows you to crack off a couple of the Joy-Con controllers and play wherever you want to, a Street Fighter 2 remake is actually a refreshing idea. It makes a tremendous amount of sense. But when you think about that price point and how many times Capcom has sold this almost identical game to us over and over again for a plethora of consoles, you know, the Super Nintendo version of Street Fighter 2 is still pretty good, if you know what I'm saying. It starts to boggle your mind why this is so damned expensive, you know? You couple that with the idea that playing on the Joy-Con is essentially not that fun of an experience. I mean, you're using an analog thumbstick to control your characters, which just feels wrong on a 2D fighter like this. And their buttons are so small, it's a pretty cool thing to be able to prop up this screen anywhere and pass a controller to a friend and play this game and have that nostalgic blast. But you are playing, you know, a hampered version of the game. It's just not that cool and not that easy and effortless to be able to, you know, get in those combos and stuff like that. I played this with Johnny Millennium from the Happy Console Gamer, and he's awesome at this game, okay? I'm going to give him that, but he was just crushing me. I'm just going to go ahead and blame the tiny controller. The Joy-Con was my nemesis. It's much easier, much more enjoyable to play with a Pro Controller, but of course you're adding to your investment into Street Fighter. Listen, this is an incredible franchise, and Capcom has added some, you know, new stuff in here, like the buddy fighting mode where you can have a buddy join you and fight against the AI, which is kind of cool. They also added this superfluous Way of the Hado mode, which is a first-person fighting experience where you use the Joy-Con controllers and their motion sensing capabilities to throw off Hadouken punches and you know, do those spinning whirlwind kicks and things like that, all from the viewpoint of your fighter. And it's kind of fun for a little while, but you know it's just this sort of gimmicky Wii-like mini-game experience. You know, it's neat that it's in there, but I couldn't help but feel that this would have been the perfect time to either release a full Street Fighter sort of compendium and a collection with maybe some of the alpha games in there as well, maybe Street Fighter 3, a nice assortment of different types of Street Fighter experiences, or even a re-release of Street Fighter 4 with all of its great stuff, or include Street Fighter 4 in a big collection. I don't know how long the exclusivity deal is with PlayStation and Street Fighter 5, but it would have been amazing to see that ported over to the Switch as well. As a standalone experience, you're definitely playing something that feels a little cheap, you know, like Capcom sort of knew that they could get this money out of people because we're all hungry for a console Street Fighter experience that we can play anywhere. I still aesthetically love the fact that you can jump back into the old sprites of the classic game, or you can play the Udon enhanced HD graphics and go between the two. I would like to be able to do that on the fly, by the way, but you actually have to make that choice in the option screen at the beginning of the game. You know, you're still going to get lots of awesome characters that you know and love. It's a treat to jump into the fists of Ryu anytime, and now that you've got two varietals of Ryu, it's kind of cool. I appreciate Sagat more and more as I get older. He's just such a menacing character, a really tough foe to beat, and I know that he's got some of the cheapest moves in this game, and maybe that's why I like him so much. I I do like the game, and I do like that I can carry this around on the Switch. It's a great cartridge for me to possess, but I don't think it's worth that asking price. So I'm a little conflicted here. You know, I understand the pull. This is a classic franchise that has gotten us out of our seats and down to game stores for generations, and there's a reason for that. The tuning is fantastic, the combos and the stuff that you're gonna be able to pull off. Even with the lack of a D-pad, the Pro Controller's D-pad isn't the best D-pad out there either. Even with all of that in there, you still feel the flow, you still feel the fun of Street Fighter. It's a solid, competently made game. There just should have been more in there, and it's missing some of the more modern Street Fighter enhancements for sure. So this is a conflicted score. This is, I'm in a bind. I dig it, but it's not worth the price, and it feels like Capcom cheaped out on us. I'm gonna give Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challengers, a 7 out of 10.